Okay. Now part B. Part B says draw a vector diagram showing the relative velocity. Showing the relative velocity of the car to the truck. So what they're asking you to do is draw a diagram in which you can see the velocity of the car relative to the truck. Okay. To draw that velocity, we need to know how this velocity is related to the other two that we have. So again, from the relative velocity equation, we know that in this case the velocity of the car relative to the truck will be equal to, first, C, so velocity of car relative to ground, which will be the common reference, minus the velocity of the truck relative to the ground again. So according to the diagram that I have here, what I have to do is velocity of the car relative to the ground, which is this vector, so I'm gonna draw it. It's something like this with 1, 2 and 3 units of length. So I'm doing this minus the velocity of the truck relative to the ground. The velocity of the truck relative to the ground is this vector over here, which has 4 units, so I have to draw it with the right length. 1, 2, 3 and 4 units. So this will be the velocity of the truck relative to the ground. So I have to do this minus that. How do we do that? Again, and we did it in another question, I draw this vector here, right, with the right length, and in this problem it's very important to draw the right length. So I do this vector minus this one. So starting at the end of this one, starting at the end of the first one, I'm going to draw the second vector, v of the train relative to the of the truck relative to the ground. But because it's negative, I'm not going to draw it like this. I'm going to draw it to the other side because this minus changes everything. So the velocity will be something like this, with again 1, 2, 3 and 4 units. So these two vectors give me the result for velocity of the car relative to the truck. So I just need to connect this. Let me do it with a ruler. Here you go. So this will be the velocity of the car relative to the truck. And in this diagram, is very important to remember that the resultant vector is the one that goes from the beginning of the first to the end of the last. So I'm going back. Velocity of car relative to ground is this, minus velocity of truck relative to ground. So I take this one, I don't draw it like this, but switched like to the other side. So I draw this, and the resultant vector is this one. So with this diagram I have completed part B. Part B just says draw a vector diagram showing the relative velocity of the car relative to the truck, which is what I have here. And in this diagram I have also shown the relation with the velocity of the car relative to the ground and the velocity of the truck relative to the ground. That's part B.